Am I the AH for picking my stepdad over my biological father? I, 28F, have been dating my boyfriend, 30M, for almost 2 years now. A couple of weeks ago I had a girls' night with my best friend, mom and sister, where we sparked a conversation about when I thought we would get engaged and married. About 45 minutes after, I received a call from my biological father, let's call him Paul. I stepped away and answered his call. The call started off with our typical "how are you and what have you been up to?" My normal response is to tell him what I am doing for the time being, which I did. I told him I was having girls' night and jokingly mentioned that they were teasing me about getting married soon. He responded with "you should. I can't wait to walk my daughter down the aisle." I went silent. For some backstory, my mom met Paul while visiting some family out of state. She went back again to visit him a few times when she got pregnant with me. She came home to have me, and Paul never came to see me or visit after I was born. My mom started dating my dad, her on and off boyfriend. Let's call him Steve, when I was only a few months old. Steve has been my dad since then. He has raised me and taken care of me all my life. I didn't really know that Paul was my biological father until I was about 8. I still have had no real relationship with him since that day. As I got older we have had some communication, but nothing very consistent. So when he mentioned wanting to walk me down the aisle one day when I got married, I was caught off guard. I cleared my throat and told Paul that although I would love for him to attend, I would be asking Steve to walk me whenever that day was to come. I could tell he was more or less angry when he came back and said, "But he's not your father." I am. Before the conversation could get more heated, I simply stated that Steve is indeed my father, and I was going to hang up the phone. I hung up and went on with my girls' night, not giving the conversation another thought until 3 days later I got a long text from Paul explaining why Steve shouldn't be allowed to walk me down the aisle and how I was insensitive by not thinking he would want to walk me. I haven't responded yet, but he keeps having my sisters, Paul's other daughters, try and contact me to say I should see it from his point of view. Am I the AH? Am I the AH for refusing to change what I wear around my roommate's BF? Hi. My roommate, 22F, and I, 21F, have been living together for about 3 to 4 years and we are really close. She started dating her boyfriend, 22M, about 6 months ago. We'll call him Mike. Mike was in our friend group and we've known him for about 2 years and us 3 were really close. When they started dating, Mike and I basically stopped being friends and the whole group fell apart. I don't care about this, I don't really like him. Since they have started dating, Mike has essentially moved in, he does not pay rent. Doesn't clean up after himself, left his underwear in my hallway, trash, dishes, etc. Just overall super disrespectful. I've always dressed very casual around my apartment. No bra, small tops, shorts, etc. because I like the freedom of wearing almost no clothes. I stopped wearing the small shorts when he came around, fine. But I refuse to wear a bra around my own place and I rarely even wear one in public. I'm blessed with an A cup. A couple days ago, my roommate asked me if I would wear a bra when her boyfriend was around. I was so taken aback. He is here all the time. So I'd have to wear one all day and into the evening. No. I refused and she called me disrespectful, saying I should respect her boundaries. She said it's disrespectful to dress like that around other people's BFS. I said I don't care, it's my apartment, and I'll do what I want. The fight, which was over text, ended really poorly. She hasn't spoken to me in 3 days. Am I the AH? What do I do? Am I the AH for refusing to go to my half-sister's wedding with my mom? I, 16M, need some advice, and this is a messy family thing, so I need to bring up the background first. My mom and dad got married 18 years ago. My mom lost her first husband like 4 years before their marriage and my dad lost his first wife 6 years before. My mom had 3 kids with her first husband and my dad had 2 with his first wife. My half-siblings are all 9+ years older than me. My parents never really had the typical marriage and they never blended families. They married for a roommate situation and since I'm here, they had sex at least one time. They never forced their kids to interact and never tried to bond with their stepkids. My dad told me none of the kids wanted a stepfamily so they didn't give them one and instead focused on making the best of things that they had while enjoying adult companionship. My mom had her family and my dad had his and the 2 sides, even when living under one roof, never merged or did anything together. And when I was born neither side wanted me. I was seen as another part of the not family but roommate deal. My parents don't share a bedroom. They don't go on dates. They play puzzles together and watch TV together and eat together sometimes. But if one of their kids has a birthday, the parent goes without spouse. They take turns visiting their own kids for a few nights. I stay with the parent who doesn't go for visits. I'm never welcome in my half-siblings' homes. My parents have no photos from their wedding. Our house has photos from their first weddings and their first families. We don't have very many family photos with me. I don't ever see any of my half-siblings. My mom or dad will sometimes ask me to say hi if they're on the phone with them, but I never get a hi back, so yeah. My parents plan to be buried with their original spouses and kids. There's room in both graves for them plus their kids and kids' spouses, and maybe some grandkids. But I don't have a spot. Sorry for all the weird background. But I bring all this up because mom's daughter is getting married and she wants me to go to the wedding with her since she can bring someone and since I'm a sibling, she thinks it should be me. But I refused. I told mom her kids don't accept me as a sibling and I'll be left on my own most of the time. I won't be in any photos or anything and I might even get her hostility. But my mom is saying I need to come with her. Am I the for refusing? Am I the for refusing to include another child in my math instruction for my son? My older son, 12M, is very interested in math and has the aptitude to match. Not a huge surprise, as I was the same and went on to get advanced degrees in a quantitative field. Due to my wife's job, we relocated to a smaller town. The public schools have become a mess since COVID, so we enrolled him in what is regarded as the academically strongest private school in the area. It's okay, but not nearly as good as the public school in our old home city. We supplemented son's math with an online program last year, at which he excelled. Math at school was a total waste, but he could afford the lost time. But he has a lot of interests: music, coding, bouldering, baseball, etc., and now homework load is increasing. Time is scarce, and he can't double up on math using evening time. We asked the school if he could just use his math period to go to the library and get ahead on homework, but they refused. No one to supervise was the reason given. And doing synchronous online math in the library won't work, because his schedule is block and the time of day he does math moves around. My office, I'm remote, is a 3-minute walk from the school, on purpose picked for drop-off ease, so I asked if I could take charge of his math education, in the library. School agreed. My son asked if I would consider including one classmate, Jane. He vouched for her math skill, interest, and work ethic. I asked her parents if I could review her assessment results and evaluate her myself. She wasn't quite up to where my son is, but close enough that I could make it work, and she seemed very hardworking and enthusiastic. So far, so good. A few weeks into this, I get a call from the school. The parents of another student, Joe, are upset that he was not offered a chance to participate. My son's sense was that Joe doesn't like math especially, and is poorly behaved. I didn't really want another kid, but I asked to see his assessments before I said no, because I assumed they'd show he wasn't ready and I could decline on non-subjective grounds. His parents shared, and indeed he is just at grade level. When I declined, his parents got quite upset. They called the school to complain about favoritism. They called and berated me, 2. Insisted that if I took Jane, then I needed to take all comers, that I was discriminating against their child. We are all same race/religion. I wouldn't budge. They asked the school not to allow the accommodation for my son and Jane. I told the school that if I got any more guff, my kid was just going to do online school. He was admitted to a very high-level online program, but decided to only take one evening computer science class. The parents are badmouthing me to all who will listen. At first I was silent, but now I respond that Joe did not demonstrate aptitude for advanced math in my view and would not be able to keep up. So, am I the AH for refusing to include Joe? Am I the AH for giving Joe's lack of aptitude as a reason?